dear students, warm welcome to science class. Anything in this world can be achieved or overcome through the power of will. Anything in this world can be achieved or overcome through the power of will. So increase your willpower and you can achieve anything in this world. Okay. So by saying this, I will start today's session. This is nothing but more about salts. Second topic, pH of salts. In the last class, we have discussed about family of salts. Today in this session, we are going to discuss about pH of salts. Okay. Collect the following salt samples. So we have to collect some following salt samples from the science laboratory. So what are those salt samples? You can see first one is sodium chloride. First one is sodium chloride, potassium nitrate, aluminium chloride, zinc sulfate, copper sulfate, sodium acetate, sodium carbonate, and sodium hydrogen carbonate. So first I have written the formula of the particular given salt. First one is what? Sodium chloride. Formula is NaCl. KNO3 is nothing but potassium nitrate. AlCl3 aluminium chloride. ZnSO4 zinc sulfate. CuSO4 copper sulfate. CH3COONa sodium acetate. Na2CO3 sodium carbonate. NaHCO3 sodium bicarbonate or else sodium hydrogen carbonate. Okay. So check their solubility in water. Use distilled water only. So we have to check their solubility in water. So we should not take normal water. We should take distilled water. Distilled water is nothing but it is a type of pure water. So distilled water is a water that has been boiled into vapor. So water has to be boiled into vapor and then condensed back into liquid. Okay. And check the action of these solution on litmus and find the pH using a pH paper. So we have to check this solutions in using litmus paper, whether this particular solution is acidic or basic, and we should check their pH range also. Okay, and which of the salts are acidic, basic or neutral? We should check their characters also, whether it is acidic, basic or neutrals, and we should categorize that these particular salts are acidic in nature and this particular salts are basic in nature. Okay, and identify the acid or base used to form the salts. We have to identify acid and base used to form a salt. So already we have learned that whenever the reaction taking place in between acid and base, neutralization reaction taking place, right? So when neutralization reaction taking place, what happens? Acid react with base, it forms salt and water, corresponding salt and water. Okay, so first one is we have written the chemical formula of given salts, and next one is acid. So hydrochloric acid react with sodium hydroxide, will get sodium chloride. For example, you can see here sodium hydroxide react with hydrochloric acid. What happens? We will get sodium chloride and water. It forms sodium chloride and water. Next one is nitric acid react with potassium hydroxide. It forms potassium nitrate. And next one is hydrochloric acid react with aluminium hydroxide. ALOH twice aluminium hydroxide. It forms AlCl3 aluminium chloride. Okay. And next one is sulfuric acid. H2SO4 is nothing but sulfuric acid react with zinc oxide or zinc hydroxide. It forms zinc sulfate. And next one is CH3COOH is nothing but acetic acid. Acetic acid react with sodium hydroxide. It forms sodium acetate. And next one is H2CO3 carbonic acid. Carbonic acid react with sodium hydroxide. It forms sodium carbonate plus water. And this carbonic acid react with sodium hydroxide will get sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so you can see here sodium hydroxide react with hydrochloric acid. It forms corresponding salt plus water, sodium chloride and water. Acetic acid react with sodium hydroxide, will get sodium acetate plus water. And HNO3 react with potassium hydroxide. It forms potassium hydrate and water. And carbonic acid react with sodium hydroxide, will get sodium carbonate and water. Okay, next we should check their pH range. Okay. So this sodium hydroxide react with hydrochloric acid. These both are strong acids and strong bases. So the pH range is 7. 7 is nothing but neutral. Okay, and this nitric acid and potassium hydroxide also strong acid and strong base. Their pH range also is 7. And this hydrochloric acid is a strong acid, and strong acid react with weak base. So that is nothing, that pH range is nothing but less than 7. Okay, and sulfuric acid is a strong acid and zinc oxide is a weak base. So pH range is less than 7. And sulfuric acid is a strong acid and copper oxide or copper hydroxide is a weak base. So pH range is less than 7. And next one is acetic acid react with sodium hydroxide. Acetic acid is a weak acid. Weak acid react with strong base. So the pH range is more than 7. More than 7 is nothing but 7 to 14 is a basic in nature. Below 7 is nothing but acidic in nature. Okay. And carbonic acid is a weak acid, and this weak acid react with strong base. The pH range is more than 7. And this carbonic acid react with sodium hydroxide. The pH range is nothing but more than 7. So you can see here 7, exact 7 is nothing but neutral. And second one also 7, so it is also neutral. And next one is less than 7. The pH range is less than 7 because the strong acid react with weak base. So what happens, this pH range is less than 7. So the corresponding salt, aluminium chloride, is acidic in nature. Okay. And next one is strong acid react with weak base. The pH range is less than 7. So the corresponding zinc sulfate is acidic in nature. And copper sulfate also, pH range is less than 7. It is also acidic in nature. And so sodium acetate here you can see a weak acid react with strong base. So what happened, the pH range is more than 7. If more than 7 is nothing but it is a basic. Okay. And next one is also sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate react with sodium carbonate pH range also more than 7. So this is also basic in nature. And sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, this also pH range is more than 7. So this is also basic in nature. So we have to list which of the salts are acidic, basic or neutral. So first two, which is nothing but sodium chloride and potassium nitrates, are neutral in nature. Aluminium chloride, zinc sulfate and copper sulfate are acidic in nature. Sodium acetate, sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate are basic in nature. So what is the conclusion? You can see salts of strong acid and a strong base are neutral with pH value of 7. So what happened? Salts of strong acid. So strong acid and strong base, whenever the strong acid and strong base react, they will form neutral salt. pH range is 7. Okay. And salts of strong acid and weak base. So if salt contains strong acid and weak base, that is what with pH values less than 7. Less than 7 means acidic in nature. And salts of strong base and weak acid or basic in nature with pH value more than 7. Okay, if both are strong, so the corresponding salt is pH range is 7, neutral. And strong acid, weak base, so the particular corresponding salt is acidic in nature, pH range is less than 7. So salts of strong base and weak acid, whenever they react together, they form basic salts. The pH range is more than 7. Okay children, in the next class we are going to discuss about chemicals from common salt. Until that, bye bye children.